guys, it's your girl Mandy, and in this video we are going to do a worth to buy for Cadence of Hyrule. So with all that being said, let's get started. 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 So if you guys don't know, Cadence of Hyrule is a sequel to the Crypt of the Necromancer game, and these games are kind of a rhythm dungeon crawling style games. So it does this dungeon crawling aspect, but puts a little bit of twist into it, and it implements kind of music and beats for movement. And I'll get more into that when I talk about the gameplay, but it's a pretty cool concept. So Cadence of Hyrule, people actually call it Cadence of Hyrule, but I think it's Candace, not Cadence. I don't know, you be the judge of that, but I think it's Cadence of Hyrule, not Cadence, but I've seen some people call it Cadence. And so Cadence of Hyrule is a merger between Crypt of the Necromancer and The Legend of Zelda. So it has a lot of Zelda, not decorations. It has a lot of Zelda-esque style things, like the enemies, the location, the characters, Link and Zelda, and you know, different aspects. And it also merges the music, which is awesome. Anyways, we'll get into that as we go on. Alright, and now for the story. So there's not much story. It does what it has to do for the game, but basically Candace arrives in this unknown land called Hyrule, and she notices Octivo, which is the main villain, has gone and kind of wrecked things. So she goes and investigates, and they give you an option to start with either Link or Zelda, but soon you could get both characters, so don't worry. So you could either go with Link or Zelda. I mostly play with Zelda because it's Zelda, of course. So the story starts where you pick a person and you just drop in. Like, you just drop in their bedroom or whatever they're sleeping, and you wake them up, and you're like, come on, we have to go. So basically what happened is Octivo is putting a lot of people to sleep, and you gotta collect the instruments to help defeat him. So it's kind of like Link's Awakening, where you have to collect instruments, and that's where the premise basically starts. Now you mostly play as Link or Zelda, you don't really play as Candace, and that's where your adventure starts, and then you're off to Hyrule. Now on to the gameplay, which is like the meat of the game basically. But like I said before, this is a dungeon crawler kind of thing, but now it's more of a 2D Zelda kind of thing. But it does do a little twist, and it adds this whole rhythm factor. Now the rhythm thing, it could be too...
One eternity later.
Now where was I? Okay, completely lost my train of thought. Okay, so these games are kind of like a dungeon crawler type of games, but for Cadence of Hyrule it's more like a 2D Zelda style game. But the little twist is you have to kind of move within beats. So in the bottom you have a bar that has your rhythm, and every step you take, the enemy takes the step too. So kind of the challenge is to keep your beat and keep the enemies, you know, not hitting you, and to, you know, keep it going like that. But there's also an option to turn it off, so you don't really have to focus on keeping the beat as much, so you can focus on not running into enemies. I personally like to adventure with the beat meter thing on, but once I go into a dungeon it kind of gets pretty jarring, so I kind of just turn it off when I feel like it's too much of a challenge or whatnot. And that's the good thing, because you can go into the options and turn it on or turn it off, and you could, you know, pick and choose which scenarios you will like it on. But the enemies still do move when you move, so if you go up, they'll probably go up or down, or wherever they are, they will move a square. And you can see under Zelda or Link, there's kind of like a checkerboard. It's kind of invisible, but you can still see it, and it kind of gives you a gauge on where they're gonna move, and some enemies act differently than others, obviously. Some have more armor, some require a kind of more strategic way of killing them instead of just like with your spear or sword. So those are things to keep in mind, and honestly it's not really that hard. I heard it's easier than Crypt of the Necromancer because of the fact that you could turn the beat meter on and off. So the game itself is very fun. You have to find all the instruments to beat Octivo, which is your enemy, and there's 5 or 4 main dungeons. They give you the option of which ones to tackle first or which ones you run into first, and that's pretty cool. It gives you that, you know, freedom without freedom, and you get certain, and you can also get certain abilities like the power-up glove, you get the snorkel, the flippers. The only downside is that you get so much items that you don't really use them, except for that one instance where you need them, or you don't even need them. There's just a bunch of items in your inventory. Honestly, all you need is a shovel, your weapon, and bombs. And another unique thing that this game has is the dungeons and the layout of your map changes. Now, I didn't know that at first. I thought I was going crazy. I was like, wait, wasn't there supposed to be a key over there? So every time you die and you respawn, you come back into the dungeon or wherever you died, and it's a completely different looking dungeon. And again, at first I did not really notice until someone pointed out, and I'm just like, oh, that's why. So now it does come in handy when you get a difficult design or layout for a dungeon and then you die and then you get an easier one. Now the downside to this game, and something I really didn't like, is that it focuses a lot on speedrunning. And if you don't know, speedrunning is how fast you could complete a game. The fastest is the winner, and there's also a leaderboard to further emphasize you to speedrun the game. So it adds kind of a replayability, but to me, I'm not really into speedrunning or getting to the end of the game as fast as I can or anything like that. And the cost to that is the game is really short. Even if you're not speedrunning it and you're playing it like my speed or something, it shouldn't take you more than a few playthroughs to get it finished. Now I think it could be longer if they didn't really emphasize that speedrunning aspect. Now one thing that this game does do awesome is the music. The music is like awesome. So basically it's a mesh between the Zelda tracks, between the Crypt of the Necromancer style music, and they mesh them together, and it's such a catchy kind of rhythm to them. And my favorite is the Gerudo theme when you're in the dungeon and out of the dungeon. I just feel like it's so cool. So in my opinion, the game is really fun. It's super quick, which is a bummer since it's really fun. It plays like a 2D Zelda game. It has awesome music, and it's definitely worth the buy. So this game is $25 on the Nintendo eShop. It is currently a digital only game, so for now it is a great deal and it is worth the buy. So if you like the video, please give me a good like, and if you like videos like these and want to see more, please hit the subscribe button. I know you want to. And while you're down there, ring that bell because YouTube. And while you're down there, please leave a comment on, do you like the sound of the game? Is it something you already bought? Do you like it? Do you don't? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. I love hearing from you guys. You can follow me on Twitter at MandyleePlays. I hope you guys have an awesome day and play a good game. Bye.